Live in 3, 2. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We have a lot to go over in a short amount of time. Let's get into it. CIA considers lethal force against the cartels. The CIA is actually reviewing its lethal force policies against cartels in Mexico and other countries, according to CNN. Now, this is according to CNN. If you haven't noticed, they get a lot of exclusives straight from the CIA. Heck, they even have, Al-Qaeda on speed dial for interviews. But again, this is something that you have to really realize. This is something that, everybody has talked about, strikes on the cartels. Now we have 2 destroyers supplying and of course, supporting our southern border missions for the cartels. What the hell is this about? Again, lawyers are examining potential liability for the CIA if an American is accidentally perished permanently during operations, while concerns have been raised about cartel retaliation and the risk of escalating the conflict. The CIA can conduct lethal operations under specific legal authorizations. It's kind of funny that they even say it. Like, of course they can. Heck, half the files that need to be released and have been released basically tell you that CIA is behind almost every person who has perished. Geez, my aunt perished and she was just choking on a chicken bone, and I'm pretty sure there was a spook behind her. We'll talk about this and much, much more when we get back. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfugglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. Somebody said a spoke. No, a spook, like a CIA, a secret agent man. And no, my aunt did not perish by a chicken bone. But if she did, well, who knows at this point, right? The documents were forged. All right, Shade Tree Prospector. Alicia, what's going on? Ilea, nice to see you in the house modding with Bobby Sue. Dex, thanks for popping in as well. Of course, Saul to Paul, thank you for seeing. Hey, Paul Barbacano, nice to see you in the house. All right, and then Devin Backus, what is going on? We've got Pass McQuaddy and so many more. I'll be going over to the chat again in just a minute. All right, so let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on? How are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So as far as like CIA, they're looking at the legal ramifications. That's like a public-facing thing for, just blowing smoke up our bejeez. I think they would more be looking at like, the legal ramifications of, taking people out in Mexico. I'm sure that's a big kind of leap over there. But also, it's like they're talking about retaliations. We could definitely see some sort of psyop or a real event where you've got the cartels doing what they have been doing in Juarez and other places on the Mexico side of the border to people here. Imagine if something like that went down. Dex, what do you think about them, mulling over taking out cartels?
Yeah, I certainly think that last point is probably the most important, is what is the retaliation? We know the cartels are, established in just about all the states around the U.S. So how big that network is, or how potential threatening that network is versus just runners and mules versus, heavy hands, which I'm sure they've got plenty of that too. But what they would do and what they could do in the form of retaliation inside our borders. And yeah, that's what could be the interesting part if they escalate or as they escalate.
I've heard a lot of people, kind of poo-poo the cartel angles. I think that would be kind of somebody who has not met somebody or known somebody or been around somebody that's like, oh, they're brothers in the cartel kind of thing. If you ever seen, they put it well right here. Mexican cartels are not merely criminal organizations. They operate as paramilitary entities with deep financial resources, global supply chains, and sophisticated logistical networks that extend into the United States. How they get people over, how they get stuff over, they have people on the payroll that are on the Border Patrol. I mean, we've got a lot of good men and women down on Border Patrol, but there's some guys who look the other way for a $10K envelope. And as far as this goes, these guys are extremely scary. And if you've ever seen, there's hardcore, just like regular video, neighborhood video of some of the stuff that's been going on with the Colorado thing. Like, any reporter or anybody got close to that Colorado thing, they were whistling, and it was like half a mile out. They had spotters. They had kids even spotting. And this is something that's a regular thing. In Mexico, if you've ever traveled there, I was in Bucerias and Sayulita when they had armed military there guarding against the cartels. And essentially the people even said, they were like, we're not truly safe. Like, they can just take those guys out at the beginning of the street and they can come right in. They have before. So, I mean, it's like, these guys are scary. So when it comes to this, though, but the people that are like, oh, the big bad wolf is the cartels, I'm not buying everything that they're selling. But at the same time, the cartels have always worked hand in hand with the three-letter agencies. I mean, heck, the three-letter agencies have armed half of these guys. And I mean, if you think about it, the last 4 years we were arming Ukraine. We absolutely know that we have seen of equipment that has gone from there. All of a sudden, you've got man pads, and it's not anything weird. It's not, nothing, no transitioning here. Man pads in the hands of cartel members. They're over the shoulder, take a plane down kind of thing. So, with this being so, such a big thing right now, they could be saying it's all of this. And in reality, there could be something even bigger there. Like, they're watching our border because something's about to pop off. I mean, when you see all of the people that came in over the last 4 years, I will not forget this. And people are just going to roll right over it. The fact that the number of people from China, 18 to 25 military-age males came in, and it was like 70 March 2022, 12,000 March 2023. I mean, that's insanity. That's like, those are troops coming over. The fact that they bought farmland right next to our bases, I mean, and it's a map that matches up like it's one of those sketch or a tracer things that you would put up on an old school projector. I mean, it's really freaky. So with this being said, these guys are tools, and they could very well be tools for the other side of the coin that is in power right now. So I would be worried about it, but I wouldn't be panicked about it. If I was on a border town, I would be a little bit more freaked out than anybody else. But I know up here in Seattle and Washington, we have all of these cartels. I don't think there's a single cartel that we don't have. When I lived in South Park, I knew at least 3 different people that were, like, no joke, these kind of people, and they were my neighbors. Actually, pretty nice people, to be honest. And they had our backs because we lived there and we were in the same apartment. But these guys are no joke. I told you guys the story about when the cartel people had their house basically bashed in by one of those huge SWAT tank things. It was scary as hell. So again, I've actually lived in neighborhoods. I've known people, and this guy's cousin, this kind of thing. And these guys are absolute, savage dudes. Like, they're no joke, and they have a system. It's very sophisticated. But am I afraid of them? Not necessarily. We'll see how all of this plays out. I mean, Now CIA is doing this. If CIA is involved, you know that this is setting up for something else. Don't you think, Dex? If they're telling us right now that they're considering lethal force against the cartels, don't you think in the next 3 months, quote me, that something with the cartels, a massive event is going to happen? I just foresee it happening.
Certainly. They got to get those khakis back out.
Yep. Yeah, have the protests, the khaki blue shirts. Oh, no, we're just regular Joes. We're all plumbers. Yeah, okay, buddies. And then Russia launches missile strike on Ukraine with explosions reported in Kiev, in the capital. Dex, do you want to go over that? So they struck right and close to home.
The escalation is up again and in the capital city there. So they said they've taken at least 1, injuring 3. They've had attacks occurring overnight involving 23 missiles and 109 drones across the country. Kiev, one of the locations being hit, which we don't report on all that often. It happens every now and then, usually after it's part of a major escalation. The Ukraine's Air Force stating that 13 missiles and 40 drones were shot down, while 53 drones were lost without causing any damage. The assault damaged buildings, sparked fires in several of Kiev's districts, marking it as the first major missile and drone attack since the U.S. announced the ceasefire agreement. So you got to remember, they did those agreements really against infrastructure, power, gas, power on the Ukraine side, gas on the Russian side, but both really. And now, we've seen those sort of go by the wayside, as you might say. And, obviously these major attacks in the city, not necessarily against the ceasefire, but certainly a major escalation since that ceasefire started. And as we talked about last week, Trump was really pushing hard to get this, deal moving forward. And none of this is showing signs of forward momentum. It's all showing, backsliding.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the peace deals, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I felt like those were going to fall apart the instant that they announced them. And then I also see like hardcore Trump supporters and my friends basically say, if he says it, it's going to happen. That's not necessarily true. He's all about making a deal. Donald's about making a deal and doing the best he can to do it. He is the art of the deal guy. I mean, he is very good at doing deals. That is his specialty. So he talks about deals as if they're already done. That's a sales tactic. So you have to realize it's not. I don't even look at it as lying. I just look at it as he is also selling the other country. He's selling the other person. I mean, I was in sales for a long time. I don't see that as. I see that as preemptive, like he's very confident. He's putting it out there. But I don't see it as a guaranteed thing just because he says it. Because honestly, right now, there's no way that all of this is going to go back to just nothing. Even if it did, we would just push down the road whatever is going to happen after this. We have BRICS, which is pushing up on the United States, the BRICS and a future currency and a future system and a future currency of ours based on the petrodollar, which if we're not going to use petrol in a few years, then how in the heck are we not going to change over the closest thing that our money is connected to, since it doesn't have a backing, it's printed out of nowhere, it's printed out of thin air. How in the world are we going to do that without tearing the whole system down again? I don't think it's possible. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And then some 1,500 North Korean troops spotted near border after Yoon's impeachment. Dex, you know what I thought when I saw this. We didn't talk about this one, man. Oh my gosh.
Well,
I believe him. I believe Yoon Suk-yeol.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Well, and what's interesting though is this is not even being covered by mainstream. We had to dig deep on this one to find this narrative of what they're suggesting is happening there. But the fact that they amassed 1,500 North Korean troops in the area near the inter-Korean border just following the impeachment period and the removal of Yoon Sung back on April 4th, which we talked about last week. The soldiers were engaged in land clearing operations, installing barbed wire fence, signaling heightened military activities, which we've We've discussed the fact that they've been doing lots of things to prep for war.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, so first of all, if you don't know the whole Yoon Suk Yeol thing, the president of North Korea was pulled out. He did a martial law, like a real one, for the entire country of South Korea for about 8 hours before all of the people in, I don't know what they call their different houses, basically voted to cancel it, right? His claim was that China had infiltrated into South Korean government, that the people were empathetic to North Korea, that they were basically trying to help North Korea, and they were trying to impeach the other side, which was against North Korea and against China. He then, this whole 2 week, it sounds a lot like what was happening in the U.S. for a while, and all of a sudden he gets taken out. He had 160 of his private military, or the military basically guarding him, people that supported him. And it took like a week or a week and a half for them to get him out. They arrested him, they impeached him, and he might even serve jail time for whatever he did. And it's like nobody talked about it. There was no comments, really not anything from the president. There might have been like a written quote, but even Trump didn't talk about it. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Now, all of a sudden that Yoon Suk Yeol is out of the picture, look at what is happening. What he said, and I've said since this happened, I think I believe his story. I think China infiltrated, and they were sympathetic to North Korea, and now they're trying to help North Korea. Now 1,500 soldiers are amassing on the border. Like, this seems I knew this was going to happen. This is not an I told you so. It's I knew it. So not the same. You can't get mad, because I do a lot of I told you so's, but we told you so. That's what it should be, because I'm sure you told your friends and family about this one too, and they were like, okay, just watch. I with time, there are going to be so many nasty comments that will fade away and age so poorly. All right. Yeah, I just right away, just man. And then before we move on, remember, we worked this out with EMP Shield to get a giveaway going. And again, there's only a few days left. Go to marfooglenews.com/giveaway to win one of 5 EMP Shields, or one lucky winner will get $1,000 at the griddown.com store. So you can get yourself a Grid Down Bug Out XP. You can get yourself a generator. You can get yourself solar panels. You can get yourself, of course, and all of them EMP Shield protected. Go over and check that out. Again, that is a free contest. If you go in there to enter, you can actually, there's multiple ways to get more than one entry, all at no cost. Again, it not only helps us out when you purchase them from these guys, but even when you do the giveaway, of course, when you go over there and do that, we're helping you guys out. And again, the company is giving 5 EMP shields to people that may not have the ability to get one. I actually do hope that that if you already have 10, that you leave it to somebody else, because this is only our channel. This is exclusively for our Foogle family. All 5 of those are going to our audience, and then that $1,000 winner is going to our audience. We've done a lot of giveaways over the years, and most of them are like 50 channels. They're doing it for pretty much every prepper, and everybody's throwing their name in the hat. This is just for our audience. So very, very cool. Of EMP Shield. It's a prepper-run company. Again, these guys used to be, one of them used to be a YouTuber before he started this company with others. So again, go check this out, marfooglenews.com/EMP. This same company is outfitting agencies like DHS and DOD. During this giveaway, though, they are doing $20 on top of our $50 for 1, $60 for 2, $120 for 3, or $200 off for 4 on top of our $50. So that's $250 off on 4 units. That is the biggest savings you will ever get if you end up pooling with somebody else, or you're trying to get it for your daughters, your kids, whatever else. It takes 10 minutes to put in your car, and that means you're getting home to your family or getting out to bug out. These things, I really do believe that they are going to save lives. So go over and check it out, marfooglenews.com/EMP. It helps us out. We're completely independent and on our own. So thank you guys for even considering it. Otherwise, though, just share our stuff out. That would be super, super appreciated. Speaking of which, thank you, Maureen Hines. Thank you, and thank you. Callie, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody that has made it into chat already, including, of course, Eileen and Bobby Sue. Thank you guys for holding it down in the chat. All right, and then Dex, 109 billion in U.S. gold reserves now in question. What is going on?
All right, so in light of the tariff announcements, now Germany is, the officials there are raising concerns about the security of 109 billion in gold reserves that they have stored in our New York Federal Reserve. They're actually prompting calls for a physical count of the bullion bars. So the push comes amid the strain between the relationships with the tariffs in place now. Senior members of Germany's Democratic Union Party, expected to lead the next government, are questioning whether the U.S. remains a reliable partner for safeguarding the reserves. Markus Ferber from the European Parliament stated, "I demand regular checks of Germany's gold reserves. Official representatives of the Bundesbank must personally count the bars and document their results." So they want an official representative from their bank over there counting the bars in the New York Federal Reserve.
Dex,
They express it's a big deal. It really is. We have absolutely no doubt that the Federal Reserve in New York, we have a trustworthy, reliable partner in the storage of our gold reserves, they said. But in actuality, that doesn't sound like the case because they want it counted.
They don't trust us. And okay, first of all, this gives me the heebie-jeebies. Dex, honestly, does this not give you the heebie-jeebies that a major country is doing this? They're either doing it to make the president or to make a hype against the president. He already has every news network talking, of course, the stock market, plummet. Everybody's panicked about the stock market. Now Germany's like, do you guys even have our gold? This gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like, does Germany know something, or is Germany just trying to cause drama? And there are shadowy figures in the German government that are part of, probably the last admin's best friend group. Like, what is going on here? Doesn't that freak you out? Like, that they want a hard count? What do they know? Like, they must have intelligence agencies. Why are they doing this? Is this just a joke to them, or is this just like, a politics thing? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Maybe we should just ship it back to them and tell them to guard it themselves.
Said 123 Consultings, by the way, I said hello to you. Says, I doubt they have the gold. Well, I think the big question is, do they have all of it? And that is a scary thing. When you have all of these different countries that have the gold and a system that is really, I mean, any other thing like this, Dex, could you imagine another system where they're like, you're going to put it in a room and then no one's ever going to see it? I mean, that's kind of shifty, right? I mean, how did...
It is, but it's also, the less people that can see it, the more secure it is. So I see both sides of the equation, but absolutely auditing it is important. Just like we all want to know what's in Fort Knox. Like, they tell us it's there, but do we really know? They say they audit it. Nobody's seen it.
Well, and so Jerry Shirts 99 says, then come get your gold, Germany. Seriously, why would we care, Dex Marv?
Exactly.
So here's the thing, though. If they end up opening this thing up and they don't have all of the gold, and there is a big question if they do or not, because there's a lot of question if shady admins from prior years were basically loaning it out to people and loaning out other people's money, and that their physical gold isn't there. That if everybody asked for their gold, that they don't physically have it. I mean, Dex, what would we see if they opened up the vault and it had 50 billion in there, but there's supposed to be $20 trillion? Like, wouldn't that be wars all over the world? I mean, like, wouldn't that just be like instant World War III if all that money was gone somewhere?
Oh, certainly it would be extreme, and it would probably be an instant economic collapse that's not recoverable. Because not anytime soon. That would be the real deal, as opposed to, the light switches we turn on and off with tariffs and things like that.
And I think I just thought about this. So do you guys know March 28th, there was 45 45,000 contracts. Dex, can you pull up that show, or just give me the link to that show? I would like to pull up that tweet with the March 28th data. So right as this was about a week ago, right? About 9 days ago, 10 days ago, all of a sudden they got a rumor, they got a heads up. The hedge fund institutions and the amount that was bought was something like, countries. Somebody got a heads up at the very top, and everybody bought gold. 580 tons in one day, March 28th, and in the following 3 days, you had gold, silver, and platinum all just go poosh. And we're talking about not even like, oh, they broke a record today. We're talking about like the metals people, the people that are just obsessed with it. The entire community is like, what? This isn't right. This has got to be a typo. Everybody was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This can't be right. Can it? Can it? Is this a problem with the CME? Like, is this screwed up? It truly was just this massive amount. And I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, what kind of disaster's coming that all of the countries are like, we need our gold now? Up next, I'm guessing. Yep. Thank you very much. Dex is the man. All right, so yeah, check this out. This is the show we did on this, and I would highly recommend, if you have been gone or under a rock for the last couple weeks, urgent broadcast, massive movement happening now. This has solid info that you can share with your friends and family. I guarantee you, if you give this to somebody who's never seen our show before, they are most likely going to go look for themselves. They'll go to the website. They'll go check it out. They'll go verify, and they'll go, holy crap. They'll believe that something massive just happened. Again, gold shot up like a rocket. I mean, it was up to 31.23 just over this one weekend, right? And it was 45,000 contracts of gold. Yeah, look at this. TF Metals report. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This can't be right. This can't possibly right. Let me show you here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This can't possibly be correct. Could it? No way. This has to be a misprint by the CME. Has to be, right? Right? And you see 45,000 contracts for futures, 580 tons, all on March 28th. And that wasn't the whole thing. I mean, this was over a 3-day period. It was like all of a sudden somebody got a memo. Somebody got word of mouth. Like, this is word of mouth kind of stuff. There's no official letter going out. Nobody hyped it up. There's no public figure that's like, buy gold now. Warren Buffett wasn't like, go get your gold. This is just a ton of gold being sold by a ton of people all at once. And we're talking giant numbers. And not only that, you have, of course, the platinum. You have the silver. All just went whoosh like a rocket. So again, something is going on here. And I think pretty soon we'll find out. It's real. It's happening in platinum too. TF Metals. This is not a drill. There are only 8,500 contracts worth of platinum registered on COMEX. Closing OI was 12,000. Someone bought 5,697 contracts at deadline. Something huge is happening right beneath our feet. So please, folks, food, water, medicine, protection. And that could be EMP or it could be Beretta. Whatever you choose, that's up to you. But something is going on. And the fact that they are asking for a hard count of their gold, I feel like something even bigger than we think is going to happen. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Wally, or I think it's Wally, right? Wally, thank you so much for the, gifting out 5 badges to the Foogle fam. That's really, really awesome. Thank you. Stephen Click, thank you. After so many years, I switched up my photo. That's awesome, Stephen. I don't think I've ever known what you've looked like. Oh my gosh. Stephen, what is going on, brother? All right. Go show some love. This is Stephen Click in the chat. Steve Click. Boom. Nice to meet you. Finally. All right. And then China just turned off supplies, U.S. supplies of minerals critical for defense and clean tech. So obviously they put the back tariff on us, right? They responded with the tariffs, which actually, I don't think we've even talked about that yet. Dex, do you want to go over this and what just happened?
Yeah, so in addition to the tariff, as you mentioned, they've also halted exporting of critical minerals to the U.S., including dysprosium, terbium, tungsten, indium, yttrium, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that one wrong, as an escalated part of the trade war. As that these minerals are essential for electric motor vehicles, for solar panels, for wind turbines, and for even the defense systems like the F-35 jets. So China controlling nearly all global supply of some of these materials targeted to U.S. reliance on supply chains, which the article also goes in and talks more about, ignored despite, decades of warnings and stuff, which we've all been talking about for the longest time. We've talked about the warnings here, about how much we've been invested in rare earths from China that we really can't even get anywhere else. And if you can, you're going to be getting them from a small supply, which means the price is just going to go through the roof. So it's not the end of the world, but it certainly is, a big punchback. At least they're trying to hit back with as much as they can.
Yeah, and I mean the president has basically. We don't have his Truth Social post. He posted too. He gave them kind of a harsh deadline too. Do we have that covered in here somewhere? Let me see. Ilea sent me this post that was going around. I'll read it to you here. Thank you, by the way, Ilea. Let me go. It's kind of far back here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. So this is a direct quote of Donald. And again, this was over the weekend from Truth Social. Yesterday, China issued retaliatory tariffs of 34% on top of their already record-setting tariffs. Remember, they already had huge tariffs on us, and that's why Donald put them back on them. Non-monetary tariffs, illegal subsidization of companies, and massive long-term currency manipulation. Despite my warning that any country that retaliates against the U.S. by issuing additional tariffs above and beyond their already existing long-term tariff abuse of our nation will be immediately met with new and subsequently higher tariffs over and above those initially set. Therefore, if China does not withdraw its 34% increase above their already long-term trading abuses by tomorrow, April 8th, again, tomorrow, 2025, the United States will impose additional tariffs on China of 50% effective to the day after tomorrow, April 9th. That is huge, guys. Dex, 50% on top of, I mean, what I'm like, we got to add all this up. I mean, that's an insane amount of tariff. I mean, we're on Tariff Mountain right now.
Yep, we certainly are, and just imagine how that's going to wreck their economy just as much as we may think it may wreck us from buying products from them.
Yeah, I saw a video of a Chinese man basically explaining. He goes, for us to make a Stanley Cup, it's $50 for the Stanley Cup. It costs us $1 to make. We make $1, not too much, but when we sell 5 million of them, we make a lot. He goes, but the U.S. makes $49 per Stanley Cup. And not talking about the hockey trophy. We're talking about those, stupid cups, the cold cups. And he's pointing out who really hurts about this. Who does the globalization really benefit? And he's basically making the point that it actually helps the U.S. more than anybody. And then for them to make the Stanley Cups there, the pollution and the local people that are working for next to nothing, and then the pollution that's put out by manufacturing them there, and that ruins the local area or whatever. Basically, he's saying, like, this is a no-brainer backwards. Like, why would you do this to yourself? Because, China basically gets the short end of the stick. I don't think so. But I do think it is very close to that. I mean, like, yeah. But I think that I think that, again, with China, it's a little bit more complicated. Dex, how would he even be able to do this without doing? That's why when he added the China stuff in, it's like we're such big partners and we have all of this stuff. It was almost like, he's going after everybody. But it almost tells me that it is absolutely going to be a war with China soon. Just because otherwise, if we were such great pals, they wouldn't have even been included in all of this. But he's going for everybody.
Well, look, for the longest time, a lot of us, and I'm sure many people in the audience are like me, they look to buy American as often as they can. And one of the struggles we have when you go buy American is it's so much more expensive. And so you go, oh, I'll just buy the cheap Chinese thing because I can't afford I don't want to spend the extra $20 for the American made product, which is usually better. So now that's going to change. Now all of a sudden that cheap Chinese product is going to be just as much as the American one. You're going to buy the American one. And even better, you're going to encourage more people to build them in America, which the price will come down. So I think it's a short-term pain for a long-term gain is the way I look at it.
Yeah, we'll end up seeing. And then Trump threatens the new 50%. I already went over that. I kind of jumped the tariff on that. So again, 50% tariff, what would that be? What was the initial one that they got pissed off about? 34%, right? And that was just matching theirs?
No, 34 was theirs. I want to say
ours was less.
Yeah, ours, whatever Trump said they were tariffing us, we did half, and he did half of it so that we had room to negotiate. I can't remember what China's was, but it was like 20% or something. I think he had estimated that they were tariffing us 40% on average. So yeah, we're going to jump from 20 to 50, or maybe we're going to add 50 to the 20, or I don't know. I don't know what this number actually is going to be on the 8th. We'll find out. And there's always, it's
on the 9th.
The 9th. It comes out. I guess I'll start on the 8th, but whatever he says, it's the high level macro, not the fine micro. When you get down into the weeds, there's like probably a whole bunch of different numbers that sort of, it may come out to be 50, but it may be less here and more there. And, we're not going to tariff this. We're not going to tariff pharmaceuticals or something else, but maybe they will. You never know.
Oh, okay. And by the way, we probably don't even have Jace, but I do want to pull this up. Make sure to go check out Jace while you can. I'll do that. I'm doing this a little early because it totally fits into what we're doing. Again, all of the affiliates we have, I believe, will either save a life or get you through a disaster or, stop you perishing from something preventable. Jace, so it's cool. You won't have this one later, but I do think that everything that's going on with China, a lot of people don't know that they make 90% of all of our antibiotics. Go over to Jace because you can actually get a kit with all of the most commonly prescribed ones. You'll have to look on there how long it lasts. I'm sure it's probably a year or two. You'll have to look at how long these things last. But you definitely want to get yourself a kit. Maybe some of them don't have. Maybe it's 4 years, 5. I'm pretty sure they don't last super, super long. So you definitely want to go over and check this out. Go get a kit with all of your most commonly prescribed antibiotics because China makes 97% of the active pharmaceutical ingredients in the antibiotics, and they make 90% of all of them. So if stuff goes down with China, anything goes down. What I don't understand is why the U.S. and why hasn't the president right now, our current president, why doesn't he go, hey, we're going to start manufacturing antibiotics here? I don't understand that. Why the hell would we manufacture antibiotics, something so crucial, technically in an enemy country? That's stupid to me. That's like capital S stupid. Do you guys agree? If you do, again, drop it in the chat. Go over to marfooglenews.com/Jace. Make sure to use code MARF because you're not only going to get a discount on it, but you are also going to help our channel. Again, thank you guys for helping support us. It very much so. I would love to that you guys just share this out with a friend or family member. And as people in the chat always point out, I always forget, hit the stupid like button because it really does help. And I never hit the like when somebody tells me to, but I'm so glad that you guys tell other people to because I never do. It does help. It actually suggests us to new people. Marfooglenews.com/Jace, code MARF. Dex, go ahead.
Okay, so back to the question on the tariffs for China.
Yeah.
Back in March, he put 20% on. And remember when we had the whole Temu debacle with the Postal Service? Okay, so then this week was they're saying in this article was an extra 34. I wasn't sure if it was 34 on top of 20 or if it was just raising the 20 to 34. But they're suggesting in the article that it was added, so that brought it up to 54. And now if he adds 50 on top of that, that's going to be a 104% tariff.
This is insane.
It seems this is the BBC reporting. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go double check the math on this because I've always thought it was just the level that he was raising it to, not it was additive. But 104, man, that's crazy. So that $5 product's gonna be $10.
Yeah, and all of the stuff that you're getting off of Amazon, that shortly, whatever they don't have at the Amazon, local places, that's going to soon go up, or it might go up instantly. I don't know. But all of these people that are shopping on Temu and Shein, like my 19-year-old spends half her paycheck on Temu crap. There's nothing I can do. She's 19, but she gets Temu and Shein and stuff, dirt cheap, like garbage stuff. Some of it I'm like surprised it's legal. It looks just like lead in a plastic case. But again, for those of you that do that, no offense. But that is all going to go up. Great comments here. By the way, Rip Curl readiness. We got Rip Curl readiness in the house. Stephanie Munoz says, "Tupid." And then we've got J Pass, nice to see you. Bobby Sue, Tanya, nice to see you. And then, yes, somebody says, best thing we can do to take care of our health, mentally and physically. I agree with that. Walmart prices are going to be crazy. You know what was so sad? Do any of you remember, Dex, did you guys have Fry's out there? Did you have Fry's Electronics?
Yeah, we used to.
Yeah, we used to too. Ours got taken out, and I went there the 6 months during CV. Right when CV hit, remember when that huge crisis happened and they didn't have any of the containers coming in? All the containers were frozen out in the bay or whatever. I watched. They kept on this full staff. I'm not exaggerating. Empty shelves with a couple little sprinkled things in there. The entire Fry's Electronics was empty. Did any of you guys go to Fry's during this time period? It was insane. People did videos on it. You can go look it up. It was empty, and it was immediate. And this was right after the pause started. It was like 2 weeks. I mean, you really realize, Dex, do you realize one of those big box stores or a Toys R Us or a Walmart or any of these places, when things stop coming in from China, you truly get the big picture of how much crap we get from China. Dex, in a place like Fry's, almost all of that was from China. I think about, Target and other places. You think, oh, well, they did fine through all of that. Target and Walmart both somehow knew to book their ships in advance. These ships had to be like, they knew a year ahead of time, like they were given a heads up from the administration to have their own cargo ships come in and bring their stuff. If you remember this, I covered this and I went behind the Walmarts and I actually videotaped, I droned. They had all of these containers, and how we knew that they knew in advance is specifically the first thing I noticed was there was toys that were dated toys that were supposed to come out. They were a year old, just coming out onto the shelves. And I've got 3 kids. We were trying to get this one stupid robotic fish thing, and they had it. They had a year later. And it was supposed to be released a year prior, but you didn't see it, right? Because it was paused. Well, all of this stuff came out. My point is that the only reason we didn't see Walmart and Target during CV have the same thing happen that Fry's did, Fry's kept an entire store open for 6 months, not even telling their employees that they were going to be fired, telling them, oh, we're totally going to make it through this. And like 3 days before they closed it down, they told everybody, they were like, you guys don't have a job after Friday. They didn't even tell them on a Friday. They told them on like a Wednesday, so they would work the rest of the week and panic. They kept a full store going for an empty shelf. That is what our Walmarts and our Targets are going to look like if this really hits the fan. Because almost all of that crap at Walmart and Target is China. Heck, Hobby Lobbies and all of that, like Hobby Lobby's a privately owned thing. Have you noticed that Hobby Lobby's all made in China? I mean, they've always been a lot of it, but I mean everything. Even their Hobby Lobby brand stuff, I mean, almost all of it is made in China. So yeah, it's going to be hell on earth if this all goes down. And we're not even talking about physical war yet. We're just talking about getting your, regular things.
Who's going to blink? Are we going to cave or are they going to cave? Because as much as we want to sit here and cry that it's going to be hell on earth on our side, it's the same thing on their side. So I think the real question is, in the game of chicken between the U.S. or between Trump and Xi or the U.S. and China, who's swerving first?
I don't know. I can't verify that, but M. St. G says Advil and Tylenol. I don't know if they make majority of it. I don't know if they make all of it, but yeah. I mean, the one thing I do know is antibiotics, and if they make 90% of all of the pharmaceutical ingredients to those, maybe, yeah, that makes sense. Baron Saturday says Fry's employees got hosed. Oh, they got hosed, all right. Imagine sitting there for like 6 months with nothing on the shelves and being told, oh, we'll get in a shipment soon. Even after they had shipments, it wasn't the same. Like, I watched my city crumble. There's a place called Lake City. My ex used to live up in 145th and Lake City Way. If you're from Seattle, then you know Lake City is like a subset. It's above Seattle. It's North Seattle. They ended up putting in like exchanges, that poke in your arm. And they put these camps, they put this thing. And basically the entire strip is, the banks closed down, the Walgreens, the CVS closed down, the gas stations, the restaurants, the Taco Bells, everything. It's like 20 blocks of just a homeless strip that used to be a bustling part of a suburb of Seattle. And it's just dead now. All graffiti. I told you guys this when it happened. The guy had a full living room. If you've ever been to a Walgreens, that overhang that goes on both sides like an L, he had a full-on living room. He had a painting on an easel. He was painting in his living room. He had a stereo. He had a dresser. He had a coffee table. He had a TV with a generator set up. And he was permanently parked there at a Walgreens. He probably still is. And I'm all for that guy taking advantage of the spot. But what our city did, I know has happened all over the country. They destroyed our country in 2019. And over the next few years, they took a hammer to it and they broke it into 1,000 little pieces. What you are seeing now with the wars, the tariffs, all of these things, this is like make or break it time. We are either going to come out of this on top and it's going to be a really rough road, or something's going to break and we're going to fall like free fall. This is, preppers don't want it. I don't think anybody wants any of this to happen, because it will not be a fun I told you so. It will be very scary. And then Iran-backed militias in Iraq ready to disarm to avert Trump wrath. I like how they put that. Dex.
Yeah, so these groups, I don't know if I can actually say the names, if I can pronounce them. Khatib has the new Jabba, Khatib. The names aren't as important. There's a bunch of groups, okay? There's a bunch of different militia-style groups there that are in Iraq. They're all backed by Iran. They have expressed that they're willing to disarm because they don't want to have a conflict with Trump. They don't want to be, at least that's what they're saying. There's been, obviously the warnings of strikes for Iran. They've seen what's happened to Syria. They've seen what's happened to Yemen. The only place really left, I guess, would be Iraq, because there's a small set of these groups there. And they could be targeted as well. So that's the story, is they're shaking in their boots, as they want us to think. Oh, we'll disarm. But maybe that's just a code word for we'll put our arms under the sofa and tell you they're not here anymore, and then we'll pull them back out.
Yeah, I mean, all of these different groups, everybody is perking up their heads now. So we've got a lot to get through. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening though. They say it's all going to be good. And then Jonathan Floming, member for 16 months. Much love, y'all. Stay prayed up. Hey, thank you. And again, thank you for being here for 16 months. Over a year. That's awesome. They can't have a nuclear weapon. They can have a nuclear weapon. Trump warns Iran of great danger. So before I get to this, Robert says, what's a huge lie? So we talked about this. If you want to, you can rewind. I believe you can even do it live. But we talked about the gold. And Germany is asking us to hand count their $109 billion that they have in our possession. And it sounds like they don't believe that we actually have it. I mean, why else would they want to hand count to see if it's actually here? So not a very good sign. I'm sure even just them saying that caused some sort of, stock market bump. But yeah, you can go back to that. They're basically implying that we're lying about what we have, or they're worried about it. Either way, it's very scary stuff. Can you blame them? Heartwalker, no. Heck no. And Robert, yeah, isn't that nuts? Germany is asking us to hand count their gold. Bullion. They can't have a nuclear weapon, Trump says, warns Iran of great danger if nuclear deal collapses. So, Dex, one thing that's happened is like we have so many different deadlines, and how he does things is he's like, you better figure it out by Friday kind of thing. Didn't he give them a deadline too, like 60 days for something?
Yeah, he gave him a 2-month deadline in a letter.
Yeah.
And said that they needed to, come to terms and not build the nukes. So, the big thing is we had Netanyahu in the office today. He was at the White House. This was the big meeting that we had talked about last week that was coming up. Presumably there was going to be discussions. The secret discussions would probably be, what are the plans for, how do we take out Iran's nuclear facilities? What do we do to, with the escalation in the Middle East, and how do they get back on track to a peace deal? All of those were probably discussed, but the big things that are coming out of it are these sound bites, like they can't have nuclear weapons. They're going to be in great danger if they don't strike the deal. And then, as we reported over on the news short, which you guys need to go check out if you didn't see that and share it with your friends and family, Trump said he is having direct line negotiations with Iran this Saturday. So that's a big step, and that's a big announcement that came out. So we'll see what comes of that, because Iran has basically been saying up until to today, and hasn't changed their position, they got no interest in negotiating.
And with Iran, I mean, we just did the video over on Marfoogle News. Go check out that video because we talk more in depth about it. Somebody said, do I read chat? Yes, I do. Of course I do. And usually I try to read some of the good comments. There's a lot of really good comments, especially in our community, because heck, some of you guys have actually put breaking stories in there. You guys have had insight on things that I would have never known. This is a give and take. Like, I've learned so much from the Foogle fam. I have gotten so much good information from you guys. I've gotten so many breaking stories as they come out. Ilea is a good example. No one here yet, I believe, is a really awesome viewer. They are always constantly finding great stuff and sending it to us. So got to give credit where credit is due. Devin Bacchus says, good night, Ilea. Ilea, sad to see you go. Yeah. And then Michigan Lifestyle, another good thing if you make a baking soda. Good to know, actually. And then, let's see here. Imagine that. Yeah, that's what Israel kept telling Kennedy. Oh, Rosemary Griffin. Countries should keep their own gold in their own countries. So, great comment. And I actually don't know why they don't. But here's my guess, and I'm sure Dex probably knows. My guess is because we have one of the most secure gold bullion security, vaults. But Dex, why don't countries just keep their own gold? Or is it because they have investments in our country and they choose to do that?
It's all of the above. So there's a cost to storing gold. So where is it cheaper? And obviously insuring it, things like that. It might be more secure in America than say if you were going to store your gold in, Ghana. But it really it comes down to also investing and buying that gold. So they bought the gold in America, or they may have bought it in America, so they invested the money into America, into gold, into the treasury or other places. So that money came in and they would hold it and leave it here. And I guess they could always take delivery on it, but then delivering gold is astronomically expensive when you think about the security. Imagine shipping 109, billion in gold from America to Germany. I mean, the plane alone would be a target, or the ship would be massively targeted by everybody in the world that's a criminal.
Yeah, I mean, to think about that. I mean, we've all seen the robbery movies where they're moving, $100 million in gold bullion in some sort of, iron truck. But yeah, that totally makes sense. And then really two great comments. Michigan Lifestyle says, I have a lot of baking soda because it clogs bleeding too. I'm not giving medical advice here. What was the candy stripe and then the nurse's aid before you had to have a license? Old school. See, those old school tips. I want to get that book. My mom had this book and I have no idea. After she died, I don't know who got it. Maybe one of my sisters. But it was a book of like all of these old school remedies. And it was like a giant book. I think she straight up got it like as seen on TV. Like it was a guy saying, these are all the old school things. Like putting, the whole infomercial for it was like, put an orange on your hand and it will feel better or whatever. It had the coolest stuff in that book. I always went through it. I every time I was over at her house, I would go through it. If you guys know the name of that book, it was on infomercials for a while. Let me know, because I would love to know what the hell that is. But those I feel are better than anything. And then I have so much antibiotics stored. I just recently started taking it again because I have a wound in my hand, but never stopped getting it just to stock up. Teresa Portillo, that is an incredible thing to have on hand. I tell you what, it sucks to have to go to the ER for something stupid like that, for like a cut you're like questionable about. And then for bleeding, use cayenne. This person says use cayenne pepper. That is a very cool thing. Okay, I'm sure if you guys want to put your tips down there, I just want to make a forewarning that there is no medical advice on this show and anything is at your own risk. Okay, and then let's see. There was another really good comment, and it had something to do with the Iran. Oh, it was a House resolution. Dang it. What is that? Craig Thomas, by the way, what is going on? Nice to see you. Okay. I really want to find that House resolution. Dex, do you see in the chat, somebody made a post about the House resolution, and it had something directly to do with Iran. I don't know if there's a way we can search it here. Let me go back up. It was a bigger comment. House resolution. If you did chat it and want to repeat that comment, that would be great.
Yeah, I got it. House Resolution 599
Can you read that out loud?
House Resolution 599 was passed in 2023, but states that we, the USA, must do anything necessary to ensure Iran doesn't get a nuke.
Yeah, and that was Appalachian Red Roots. So, again, great comment. Something that that was Appalachian Red Roots. Hey, thank you for that comment. Yeah, so Dex, doesn't that mean basically it's already kind of in our legal framework to do whatever it takes? I'm assuming that's what that means, right?
Well, it says do anything necessary. I mean, sure need to look at the actual legal wording, but, based on his paraphrasing of it, it sounds like we should do whatever it takes. And that would be everything from negotiation to, force, I would think.
J-Pass says, I saw it sold on Storage Wars. Very so sorry, Germany. Yeah. Germany's gold got sold on Storage Wars. Funny show, too. Again, Jace Medical, we already did that. I did that early, but go check it out. marfooglenews.com/Jace. And then Trump. There is a threat on his life by a hardline newspaper, and they put in here that it divides Iran. I don't really think it divided anybody. I think that some are politically saying something. The majority of these guys have made right next to these comments. But this newspaper's comment is pretty savage. It basically says to put one of those little things that you load up in your Beretta and put it into his empty head. And I'll just read you this. Any day now, in revenge for the blood of martyr Soleimani, several of those little things that go in the bang bang will be fired into Trump's empty head, and he will drink the cup of damnation. Yeah. Dex, as far as Iran goes, I mean, we just went over this over on Marfoogle News. You guys got to go see that short. But that's pretty savage. I wouldn't see our CNN or Fox saying something like that.
No, you wouldn't. But there's a lot of savage ideology in that country, and there's some that's not too. I mean, there's plenty of people that aren't necessarily on the far spectrum of the radicalish, whatever you want to call it, perspective of the rest of the world. Some don't feel that way, and they are divided in that country. I don't know that the talking heads really are. Peshkian, the president, is the one who said, no, we don't need to talk like that. But he's also probably the one who's going to be negotiating come Saturday. So he doesn't want to walk into a negotiation like that, supporting that type of line. That doesn't do you any good when you know you're about to go into a negotiation. So
No. Okay, it makes perfect sense why Pashkin said that. What happened to the last president? Do you remember what happened to the last president? Was Iran's president? Oh, he died in a helicopter crash, mysteriously. And then what happened to the guy that was running right behind him that was going to replace him? Oh, yeah, he perished from a strike that they said was set up months in advance. So if I was the current president of Iran, which is not the leader, the Ayatollah is the top guy, the president is just kind of the front man that makes comments, kind of like Medvedev in Russia. Not even. Yeah, kind of like Medvedev. Has a lot of, pep in his step out, has a lot of threats to throw out there, but really doesn't make the decisions. The Ayatollah does. That, I would personally be like, no, we didn't mean that. Because if he agreed with that, I mean, he might be having a man pads with his name on it. A Pashkin man pad. A Pashkin pad. All right, and then Jonathan Floming, M. St. G, Rosemary Griffin, imagine that. LW, Rachel, nice to see you. Rodney Ramsey, Colby Wilson, during the tough times in a world where even the roughest upbringings didn't teach people how to provide their basic needs. Being around such people likely will be a threat. Rodney Ramsey, you hit it on the head. One of the biggest threats when everything hits the fan is other people that are unprepared. And that's why I do believe that if you personally pass off just to even a couple people in your near circle and try to get them prepped up just even a little better than they are now, it's going to be better for everybody. The less zombies we'll have walking around desperate for, everything. That's the crappy part. I wish people did take this seriously. The same people that don't have any prep food, don't have more than 3 days of food in their fridge, they have insurance on their iPhone, they have insurance on their car, they have insurance on their house, they have insurance on their life, but they don't have insurance on their fridge. Like, that's crazy to me. Think about it. You get car insurance because you might crash, not because you know you're going to crash. You get insurance on your phone, not because you know you're going to drop your phone. Well, you kind of do, but because you think you might. And that's how you should treat your food. Disasters happen everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. So get prepped up, get your ducks in a row, and I promise you there will be some sort of disaster, whether it be the ones we're talking about or something that's local and regional, that you'll be like, wow, I'm so glad I have this. Teresa Portillo, I think, just said she's been stocking up antibiotics. Now she has a cut. Now she can just go into her stash. That's pretty freaking awesome. LW, great suggestion. Ja, nice to see you. Feel free to think. Love the name. Darth V, Danger Will Robinson. Is that Darth? Man, I miss the California crew, man. We had that whole crew is awesome. I wonder what happened to them. They haven't popped in much lately. If you remember the Darth Vader call-ins, they were great. All right, Dex, thank you so much for your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much, Bobby Sue, Rip Curl Readiness, Ilea, Jammer. I think I saw you in there, right? Jammer, thank you so much. Whether you're here or not, I know you're not feeling too well this last week, so praying for you. And Craig Thomas, yes, I do read the chats, and I try to respond and try to pull out the best comments I can. Also, very soon here, I want to get all of you guys like actually talking. So stay tuned. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Dex, thank you. And you guys, love you. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. If you're still here, you'll be ported over to Jams if you want to hang out and talk with the fam. I'll be saying thank you to several people. And before we go, just in case I missed anybody, Stephen Click, Alex Galagos, Wally from Canada, Milosh Schaefer, I knew I missed one. Thank you, says, thank you, Apocryphy, for showing me this channel. Also, OH-IO. M. St. G, thank you, Wally, paying it forward. Jerry Shirts, Stephen Click, Maureen Hines, Callie, Apocryphy. Shout out to Adam Dex and my literal brother, Milosh Schaefer. That's awesome. I love it. You brought the fam. Literally. I used to get in arguments with Karina Kopf. I did miss some in the very beginning. Alex Galagos, thank you so much. Love ya.